everyone. Welcome back to Youth's Journey to Light. I'm Maya.
And I'm Gabriel.
So, Gabriel, what makes you happy?
Uh-oh. Big question right off the bat. Okay, pizza, good coffee, hanging out with friends, and I'll admit it, binge watching shows until 2 a.m. sometimes.
Honestly, same. But here's the thing. Is that really happiness? Or is it just pleasure?
Yeah, that's the big question we're tackling today. And spoiler alert, happiness isn't what most of us think.
Exactly. We usually think happiness is a mood, like being in a good vibe. But today we're going to dig into what happiness actually is, and how we, as young Catholics, can build a life that's not just about chasing feelings, but living with joy, purpose, and meaning.
And we'll lean on some amazing wisdom from Arthur Brooks, a professor at Harvard who actually teaches happiness. Wild, right?
Yep. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's dive in.
So here's the big bombshell. Happiness isn't actually a feeling. Feelings are just evidence of happiness. Like the smell of food isn't the meal itself.
That image helps so much. Like, the smell of pizza is proof the pizza's in the oven, but it's not dinner. The feeling of happiness is proof you've got the ingredients of happiness in your life.
And that's good news. Because if happiness were just about feeling good, we'd be at the mercy of our moods all the time.
Right. We'd be living like, okay, maybe tomorrow I'll wake up and feel happy. But that's no way to live. Instead, we can actually build happiness, piece by piece.
Okay, which leads us to the 3 key ingredients. Think of them as the macronutrients of happiness. Just like food has protein, carbs, and fat, happiness has enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning.
Let's break those down.
Okay.
So first up, enjoyment. Most people confuse enjoyment with pleasure, but they're not the same.
Exactly. Pleasure is just a burst of good feelings, like scrolling TikTok or eating chocolate. Nothing wrong with that. But pleasure by itself won't make you happy.
Enjoyment is pleasure plus people plus memory. So when you eat pizza alone at 11 p.m., that's just pleasure. But when you eat pizza with friends, laugh, take goofy photos, and then remember it later, that's enjoyment.
Yeah, because now it's connected to love and relationship. That's why God made us for community. Joy multiplies when shared.
Here's a challenge for you listening. Think about the things you do for pleasure. Are you doing them alone or with people you love? Could you turn them into moments of enjoyment by inviting someone in?
All right, number 2, satisfaction. This one is interesting because it's joy you get after a struggle.
Yes, like finishing an exam after weeks of studying. Or finally running that 5K you trained for. The reward feels sweeter because you worked for it.
And satisfaction never comes easy. My dog, if I had one, would just want treats without effort. But humans, we're wired to struggle and then find joy in the victory.
It reminds me of when my mom wouldn't let me eat ice cream before dinner. At the time, I was like, ugh, she's so unfair. But really, she was teaching me delayed gratification. The meal was better when I was hungry.
And here's the Catholic angle. Carrying our crosses, big or small, leads to deeper joy. Jesus shows us that struggle and sacrifice aren't wasted. They lead to resurrection.
So maybe next time life feels tough, instead of thinking, why me? We could ask, what joy might God be preparing for me through this? Okay, last and biggest ingredient, meaning. You can go without enjoyment for a while. You can even go without satisfaction for a time. But without meaning, you can't really be happy.
Yeah, this is where a lot of young adults struggle. Anxiety, depression. So often at the root is this question: what's the point of my life?
And here's where it connects to what we talked about in our very first episode, the image and likeness of God. Remember? We said that being made in God's image means we already have the potential to reflect Him, but living in His likeness is about actually becoming who we're meant to be.
Right. And meaning comes from living out that likeness, when we see our life not as random, but as a gift with a purpose given by God.
Arthur Brooks gives his students two big questions to wrestle with. 1. Why am I alive? 2. What would I give my life for?
And as Catholics, the answer starts with this: I am alive because God made me in His image and likeness. That's my identity. And what I give my life for? Love. Love of God and love of neighbor.
Okay, so here's a cool twist. Satisfaction, the joy after struggle, usually doesn't last forever. You get the job, you're happy. Then the feeling fades.
Yeah, like the Rolling Stones saying, I can't get no satisfaction.
Exactly. But there's a Catholic loophole. True satisfaction comes not from having more, but from wanting less.
That's so countercultural. Our world screams more, bigger, better. But Scripture says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
So if we manage our desires, learn to want less, we actually find more peace and joy. Gratitude unlocks happiness.
Okay, so let's put it all together. Happiness isn't about chasing good feelings. It's about building a life with enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning.
And that doesn't mean being perfectly happy all the time. Negative emotions still happen. Life is messy. But we can be happier, and that's the real goal.
And the ultimate happiness? That's what we're aiming for in heaven. But here on earth, we get to start living it now by choosing love, purpose, and gratitude every day.
Okay, so next time you think happiness is just about Netflix binges or buying something new, remember, it's deeper than that.
It's about sharing joy with others, embracing the struggle, and living with meaning. And that meaning is rooted in the truth we talked about in our very first episode, that God created us in His image and likeness. That's where our identity and purpose come from.
Exactly. So if you missed that episode, go back and check it out because it ties in perfectly with what we talked about today.
Thanks so much for joining us on Youth's Journey to Light. If this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend who could use some encouragement.
And don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.
See you next time, and until then, keep walking toward the light.
Bye!